everyone. We'll start with the discussion now. So today there are a few news items which are extremely relevant in today's newspaper, and most of the news items are the extension of the things which were happening for the past few weeks. Just let me check whether it has started or not. Yes, it has started. So without wasting a single minute, let's directly delve into the main important topics that we have to discuss. So the first one is that in the latest development, the government of India has increased the prices for the commercial LPG. So basically, the government of India is not has not interfered with the domestic consumption or the prices of the domestic uh, LPG, but instead of that, it has put more burden on the commercial supply. And the latest one is basically they have hiked the prices of the commercial gas cylinder by 993 rupees, और जो 5 kg का सिलेंडर होता है उसका प्राइस 261 रुपीज़ इंक्रीज किया है. नाउ द इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट इज and it was quite anticipated that domestic gas supply is not affected and prices remains so basically this is a kind of tactic where the union government will try to absorb the international pressure, इंटरनेशनल सप्लाई क्रंच की वजह से जो प्राइजेस इंक्रीज होने चाहिए डोमेस्टिक गैस के उसको वो कॉम्पनसेट करेंगे कमर्शियल गैस के थ्रू. दैट्स अ वेरी सिंपल एंड आइडियल डील बाय द यूनियन गवर्नमेंट, नथिंग न्यू. नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, GST collection. So basically it's a all-time high. The government of India has collected over 2.43 lakh crore rupees in GST in the month of April 2026, right? So we'll have a very and this is something which holds a lot of relevance since last year, since September 2025, when the government of India introduced GST reforms, popularly known as GST 2.0, right? So in that context also it holds a lot of relevance, that how the overall reduction in the GST structure, or how overall change in the GST restructure have reformed the GST collection, right? So earlier there used to be 4 slabs of GST. Now there are only 2 slabs of GST. So the government of India has actually worked on the many aspects of the goods and services tax, and we can actually see the impact of the same on the collections as well, that the overall collection has rose to 2.43 lakh crore. It's all-time high in the month of April 2026. So the government of India is actually receiving a lot of money from the various sources. Now if you're watching this video, please keep on liking and just comment आपको जो भी लगता है. If you have any opinion about any particular concept, just keep on commenting. And you are basically law aspirants, so you must have an opinion about each and everything. Now moving on to the next point. So this is a tragic picture, and it is coming all the way from Jabalpur, जहाँ पर बारगी डैम में एक बोट है, क्रूज बोट, द स्मॉल साइज क्रूज बोट, इट कैप्साइज्ड एंड किलिंग more than 9 people. And this shows a systematic lapse in the system, that there were not sufficient lifeboats. There were sufficient lifeboats, but people were not wearing the lifeboats, and when boat capsized, and it happened so suddenly that many of them were not in the position that they were wearing those lifeboats, right? So this is again a very tragic incident happened in Jabalpur. But again, academically it doesn't hold much relevance for our examination, which is common law admission test. So we won't be going into the details and bits and pieces of this news item. We'll directly skip it, right? Now अब हम आ जाते हैं एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग न्यूज़ आइटम पे. Now this is का kind of मसाला न्यूज़. I mean, you will see that so many people are giving so much relevance to this news item. So basically, it's a kind of a political tussle that started between Mr. Pawan Kheda and the Chief Minister of Assam and his wife. So Mr. Kheda made certain remarks against the wife of the Chief Minister of Assam, Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma. उनकी वाइफ के अगेंस्ट इन्होंने कुछ रिमार्क दिया दैट शी होल्ड्स पासपोर्ट ऑफ मल्टीपल कंट्रीज और इनका बहुत अलग अलग कंट्रीज में प्रॉपर्टी है। और इसके बाद क्या हुआ, जब उन्होंने ये स्टेटमेंट दिया तो इसके बाद मिस्टर शर्मा हु इज द चीफ मिनिस्टर ऑफ असम, उन्होंने इस चीज़ पे बहुत ऑफेंस लिया कि हाउ एनीवन कुड से दीज काइंड ऑफ वर्ड्स अगेंस्ट माय वाइफ, दीज वर्ड्स आर नॉट ट्रू। तो फिर आसाम पुलिस अलग अलग दिल्ली पहुंचती है मिस्टर पवन खेड़ा के रेजिडेंस पे, फिर वहाँ पर वो नहीं मिलते हैं, वो इन तेलंगाना, राइट। एंड फिर इनका जो एंटिसिपेटरी बेल होता है उसकी एप्लीकेशन फाइल होती है सुप्रीम कोर्ट में। सुप्रीम कोर्ट वापस से रेफर करता है इनको गुवाहाटी हाई कोर्ट उसको रिजेक्ट करता है। फिर ये लोग वापस से सुप्रीम कोर्ट पहुंचते हैं एंड फाइनली द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज़ ग्रांटेड एंटिसिपेटरी बेल to Mr. Pawan Kheda. It is a kind of relief, and he will actually feel so much relieved after this particular order from the Supreme Court of India, because he was basically he made a remark in the Supreme Court of India that this entire incident was somehow politically motivated, right? So that's one cool point about this news item, but again academically it doesn't hold a lot of relevance, and there is no point. See, when I say this, I mean, always remember this: when we talk about newspaper analysis, Monday to Friday takes mostly 45 to 50 minutes, and Saturday it usually takes 35 to 40 minutes. If your newspaper analysis, or if you are taking more than 50 minutes to read the newspaper, I mean, then you should definitely work on your reading speed, because CLAT के perspective से आप दिन में स्कूल जाते हैं, you have a lot of other things to do. अगर आप 90-95 minutes if you're investing on just on the newspaper reading or newspaper analysis sessions, then it's of no use. I'll be very honest, because most of the news items are extension of something which has already happened. So you must have already read the static aspect of that particular news item. So keep it in mind that static aspect, though it's very relevant, but you already covered it in the earlier uh, installments of the same news item, right? So that would be one positive suggestion. Now please, I always say this, that giving your opinion is very important. So if you find this interesting, just keep on liking it, right? I mean, we have, because this is a long journey and we'll do it very diligently. Now this is again a very important step that has been, it's a first of its kind in India, first of its kind in India, and mostly you will find these kind of things जो first of kind होते हैं, these are mostly from the southern part of India. So in the latest development, what has happened, that now in India the situation or the status of gig workers is not that great, because there is no specific law related to the gig workers, so they don't have many ordinary rights which are available to a common regular worker, right? So now moving on to the next point. So next point हमारा क्या, इसको थोड़ा सा हम बहुत it's a kind of one liner, AILET, MHCT, SLAT या जो अदर लॉ एंट्रेंस टेस्ट होते हैं उसके लिए थोड़ा सा न्यूज़ आइटम रेलेवेंट हो सकता है. एंड व्हाट इज दैट? केरला हैज़ बीन operationalized, the government of Karnataka has officially operationalized a specialized grievance redressal mechanism for platform based gig workers. The mechanism is first of its kind in India, has been developed by the Karnataka Platform Based Gig Workers Board in collaboration with the Department of E-Governance. Now what is this idea? What are the features of this specific framework which has been launched by the government of Karnataka? With the new initiative coming into force, gig workers can now officially lodge grievances, including regarding payment, working conditions, and platform specific disputes through the Integrated Public Grievance Redressal System IPGRS portal. So now the government of Karnataka has basically launched an IPGRS portal. And students, what is this IPGRS portal? तो बहुत सिंपल सा एक IPGRS पोर्टल है. जितने भी नॉर्मल एक रेगुलर वर्कर के ग्रीवांसेस होते हैं, राइट, जितने भी एक रेगुलर वर्कर के ग्रीवांसेस होते हैं, उन सारे ग्रीवांसेस को गवर्नमेंट अब कर्नाटका में गिग वर्कर्स के लिए भी क्या करेगी, वो सारी फैसिलिटीज प्रोवाइड करेगी, बट नॉट थ्रू एनी लॉ, नॉट थ्रू एनी piece of legislation, not through any statute, but simply through a portal जिसका नाम है IPGRS portal. आई एम अ गिग वर्कर. मुझे लग रहा है कि मेरे जो वर्किंग कंडीशंस हैं दोज आर एक्सट्रीमली हार्श. द आउटसाइड टेम्परेचर इज 45-46 डिग्री सेल्सियस, बट आई एम नॉट गेटिंग इनफ मनी फॉर द जॉब विच आई एम डूइंग. I can lodge my complaint on this IPGRS portal. I have problem with the working conditions. I have a certain platform specific dispute that platform is charging a lot of commission from it, taking a lot of, it is making a lot of deduction. If I have any kind of any this kind of grievance, then I can lodge it on the IPGRS portal directly with the कर्नाटका प्लेटफॉर्म गिग वर्कर्स का जो बोर्ड है उसके पास मैं डायरेक्टली लॉन्च कर सकता हूँ. सो दिस इज समथिंग विच विल गिव मोर स्ट्रेंथ टू द गिग इकोनॉमी इन कर्नाटका, राइट. ऑलमोस्ट so far details of 12 lakh active gig workers have been shared by platform. So almost 1.2 million workers have shared their information on the platform. That tells the level of the vast level of reach of this particular initiative. Right, now moving on to the next point. So Bengaluru's beloved bookstore slowly picks up pieces after. So it was a very popular bookstore जिसको भी recently जब बारिश हुई बेंगलोर में तो इसको काफ़ी ज़्यादा इससे अफेक्ट हुआ था. अब ये जो recent visit है, and this is one of a kind visit because since 2019 or in the last 7 years कोई भी विजिट नहीं हुआ है इन टू लद्दाख. और उसके बाद से लद्दाख has changed significantly, right? So, and for a very long period of time, the people of Ladakh, they are demanding statehood, restoration of statehood for Ladakh, and also statehood for Ladakh, and they are also demanding special protection. Just give me a minute, there is message. Special protection under the 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution, right? So let's talk about the special protection under the 6th schedule of the Constitution, and also the people of Ladakh, they are demanding the special statehood for Ladakh, restoration of statehood for Ladakh. Now last year there was a huge protest which took place in the valley, and after that and that protest turned out to be deadly, and after that Sonam Wangchuk was taken into the custody, right? Under the National Securities Act, he was in the preventive detention for a good 5 to 6 months. He was in the preventive custody, and then in the month of March 2026, he was finally released. So a lot of things are giving a lot of boost to this particular थिंक कि अभी ऐसा जो हो रहा है इसका मेन रीज़न क्या है, क्यों अमित शाह की जो विज़िट है 2019 के बाद पहली बार विज़िट हो रही है, क्यों इतनी ज़्यादा ये इम्पोर्टेंट हो जाती है। अब हम एक छोटा सा ब्रीफ डिस्कशन कर लेते हैं अबाउट द सिक्स्थ शेड्यूल, दैट व्हाट इज सिक्स्थ शेड्यूल। सो सिक्स्थ शेड्यूल ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन प्रोवाइड्स it provides for the administration of tribal areas. Now I have a question to ask. So now this entire society is categorized into like various groups: general, EWS, SCs, STs, OBCs, right? Now there is a specific category which is known as PVTG. And what is the full form of PVTGs? Particularly vulnerable tribal groups. So particularly vulnerable tribal groups are those groups which are much more vulnerable than the tribal groups. My simple question is, how many types of particularly vulnerable tribal groups exist in India? Question is absolutely simple. Clear question है that how many types of particularly vulnerable tribal groups exist in India. And to make your newspaper analysis more interesting, we'll have certain questions at the end of the newspaper analysis from Monday onwards, because that's a good day to start something new. So from Monday onwards we'll have certain questions, and right now your question is that PVTG stands for particularly vulnerable tribal groups. How many types of particularly vulnerable tribal groups are there in India, and which state has the maximum number of particularly vulnerable tribal groups in India? I hope I'm absolutely clear with my question. Now moving on to the sixth schedule. So sixth schedule talks about the administration of tribal areas in 4 states, and these 4 states are Assam, Meghalaya. Which are the other 2 states? Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. अब स्टूडेंट्स जो इन 4 स्टेट्स में आसाम, मेघालय, त्रिपुरा, मिजोरम, इन 4 स्टेट्स में, ठीक है, जो ट्राइबल एरियाज हैं उनको एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के लिए क्या किया गया, उनको एडमिनिस्टर करने के लिए एक्सक्लूसिव पावर्स दी गई हैं। और इन ट्राइबल एरियाज को, क्योंकि जो ट्राइबल एरियाज होते हैं उनके जो रिलीजियस अफेयर्स होते हैं, उनके जो पर्सनल अफेयर्स होते हैं, दोज आर वेरी एक्सक्लूसिव, राइट। तो उस एक्सक्लूसिविटी की वजह से क्या है कि ये जो 4 एरियाज हैं इनके जो ट्राइबल पॉपुलेशन है उनको अपने आप को एडमिनिस्टर करने का राइट दिया गया है। दे कैन एडमिनिस्टर देयर ओन सेल्व्स, राइट। अब ये अपने आप को एडमिनिस्टर कैसे करेंगे? सो दीज ट्राइबल एरियाज विल एडमिनिस्टर देमसेल्व्स थ्रू autonomous district councils known as ADCs. So at district level these are autonomous district council, वो district के लोग उसको elect करते हैं, and this is a kind of a governance system. और फिर ये district council जो होते हैं यही क्या करते हैं, पूरे district को वो administer करते हैं, और उसमें फिर वो जितने भी local social कस्टम्स होते हैं, रिलीजियस अफेयर्स होते हैं, फाइनेंशियल पावर्स होती हैं, उन सारी चीज़ें उन्हीं के पास में होती हैं, एंड दीज पावर्स आर वेरी एक्सक्लूसिव, राइट। तो यही होता है सिक्स्थ शेड्यूल का प्रोटेक्शन। अब इसी प्रोटेक्शन को लद्दाख काफ़ी टाइम से डिमांड कर रहा है, दैट वी मस्ट बी प्रोवाइडेड विद द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ सिक्स्थ शेड्यूल अलॉन्ग विद द रिस्टोरेशन ऑफ द स्टेटहुड फॉर Ladakh, right? To protect the indigenous identity of the people of Ladakh, to protect that originality of the people of Ladakh, this kind of demand, or this specific demand, was made by the people of Ladakh, and Mr. Shah is visiting Ladakh, so you might expect something positive out of it. Now moving on to the next point. So I mean, we know this since so what happened on 5th of August 2024? Anyone, what happened on 5th of August 2024? Just keep responding. I mean, let's keep it very interactive. I mean, you have a fully functional digital device. If you're watching this video, if you must have a fully functional digital device. In the context of Bangladesh or India Bangladesh bilateral relations, what happened on 5th of August 2024? Anyone? What happened on 5th of August 2024? So this was the day when Sheikh Hasina was ousted from the office, and the Nobel Peace Prize winner Muhammad Yunus became the interim Prime Minister of Bangladesh. And since Muhammad Yunus became the interim Prime Minister of Bangladesh, the bilateral relations between India and Bangladesh went or witnessed the lowest level. So Mr. Yunus gave certain remarks which were pretty much anti-India. उन anti-India remarks की वजह से क्या हुआ कि जो bilateral relations थे वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा ख़राब हुए. और इसके बाद फिर तारिक रहमान became the new Prime Minister of Bangladesh in April 2026. और उसके बाद से तारिक रहमान is continuously giving efforts to improve the relations with the Indian authorities. और आपने देखा होगा कि उसी टाइम पर जो मोहम्मद यूनुस का टेन्योर था, उसी टाइम पर बांग्लादेश ने विड्रॉ किया पार्टिसिपेशन से कि हम इंडिया में वर्ल्ड कप हो रहा है, विल नॉट पार्टिसिपेट इन दैट वर्ल्ड कप. सो अ लॉट ऑफ न्यू थिंग्स ऑल्सो टुक प्लेस ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम. तो अभी एक स्टेटमेंट दिया मिस्टर हिमंत बिश्व शर्मा ने, हु इज द चीफ मिनिस्टर ऑफ असम. सो अभी जितने भी ऑफिशियल्स हैं, हाई रैंक्ड ऑफिशियल्स हैं, जो इंडिया की तरफ से जो बायलैटरल रिलेशंस को इम्प्रूव करने के लिए बहुत दे आर वर्किंग टायरलेसली. सो दे हैव बेसिकली सेट कि ये जो रिमार्क दिया गया है, इट इज़ हिज पर्सनल रिमार्क्स. वी आर नॉट or the Indian government, or we are not related to this particular, we don't support the remark made by the Chief Minister of Assam, Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma. So this is only relevant point really we have to cover under this news item. Rest there is nothing relevant. Now moving on to the next news item which we'll be discussing. So I mean some serious allegations have been leveled against the Chief Minister of Punjab, Mr. Bhagwant Mann Singh, by the opposition. Or the opposition demanded that a sobriety test must be conducted upon Bhagwant Mann Singh, because they said he was drunk within the state legislative assembly. It's a black day, so they made all these kind of remarks. And when Bhagwant Mann was asked about it, so he said no, nothing like that. The opposition doesn't have solid a point or a thing to ask in the state legislative assembly, so they are issuing or raising these kind of baseless allegations, right? Now then we have the next important news items. So these allegations, we know when it comes to Enforcement Directorate and Central Bureau of Investigations. So there is a saying, I'm not saying this, opposition always says this कि रूलिंग पार्टी के पास में दो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट क्या बोलते हैं उसको, स्ट्राइक बॉलर्स हैं. जब कहीं पर भी इलेक्शंस होते हैं तो वो इन स्ट्राइक बॉलर्स का यूज़ करते हैं. ED is like Jasprit Bumrah, and and CBI is like Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. So in IPL 2026 IPL, I mean Jassi bhai is not performing that good. But jokes apart, so abhi minister have said, Pankaj Chaudhary, Union Minister of State for Finances, Mr. Pankaj Chaudhary has said कि जो भी ये सेंट्रल इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग एजेंसीज हैं, दीज इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग एजेंसीज वर्कड इंडिपेंडेंटली, दे हैव नो or they are not regulated by, or they do not follow the orders of the union government. They work independently. They are independent investigating agencies of the central government. Now, excuse me. Now, moving on to the next point. This is a kind of positive development. So we have inducted, or the Indian Navy have inducted the sixth Nilgiri class Project 17A ship और नेवल वेसल इनटू द नेवी, और इसका नाम क्या है? द इंडियन नेवी टुक डिलीवरी ऑफ INS महेंद्रगिरी. महेंद्रगिरी यार्ड 12654. ये सिक्स्थ शिप है. किस क्लास का? इट्स ऑफ नीलगिरी क्लास. And Nilgiri class is a part of Project 17A. Now this ship Mahendragiri Yard 12654 has been developed by Majgaon DOCK Dock Shipbuilders Limited. So we'll have questions at the end of the every analysis from Monday, and we'll have a separate fresh sheet. तो जो मैं आपको चीज़ें लिख रहा हूँ, these will be quite visible to you. कुछ भी नहीं होगा, so we'll write all these things on a fresh sheet, right? Now, and what is Project 17A? And overall, it was the fourth ship which has been developed by Majgaon Dock Shipbuilders Limited. And overall, basically, इट इज़ प्रोजेक्ट 17A के अंडर में जो फ्रिगेट्स बनते हैं, जो ये शिप्स फ्रिगेट्स होते हैं बेसिकली, और इनका काम होता है बेसिकली टू टैकल द मॉडर्न डे वॉर टाइम चैलेंजेस या मैरी टाइम चैलेंजेस जो होते हैं, उनको टैकल करना इज़ द पार्ट ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट शिप्स, part of the Project 17A. Then changes to citizenship rules notified by the central government. So the government of India, or the Union Home Ministry headed by Mr. Amit Shah, have notified the rules under the Citizenship Rules 2009. So the Union Home Ministry on Thursday have notified changes to the Citizenship Rules 2009, introducing digital shift across various processes for the overseas citizens of India, card holders and citizenship applications. So there are two important contexts of this news item, that how this news item will have an impact on the people who are holding overseas citizenship of India cards, and also the citizenship applications. Right now, so the first important rule which has been notified under 2009 rules, or the first rule under these the 2009 rules is, and this is actually very important, कि a minor cannot hold the passport of any other country while holding an Indian passport. So this is the first relevant point, कि अगर कोई भी माइनर है वो साइमल्टेनियसली इंडियन पासपोर्ट और किसी और कंट्री का पासपोर्ट वो एक साथ में होल्ड नहीं कर सकते हैं. नाउ द सेकेंड पॉइंट, The Citizenship Rules 2009 allowed a person to submit an application for the registration of the birth of his minor child born outside India to the Indian consulate in the country where the child was born, together with a declaration that the child does not hold a passport of any other country. So let's take one example. Let's take one example that, see, there is a couple who are traveling to some X or Y country, or they are living in some X or Y country. The child was born there. तो आपको जैसे ही your child is born, the moment your child is born, you have to register yourself, or you have to register the birth of the child with the consulate in that country. हमारा जो भी एम्बेसी या हाई कमीशन है उस कंट्री में, वहाँ पर आपको अपने बच्चे का जो जन्म है उसको आपको दर्ज करवाना होगा, आपको रजिस्टर करवाना होगा अपने बच्चे के बर्थ को, और उसके बाद एट द सेम टाइम यू हैव टू मेक अ डिक्लेरेशन कि उस बच्चे के पास में किसी और कंट्री का पासपोर्ट नहीं है, राइट। फिर बहुत सारे ऑनलाइन इनिशिएटिव स्टार्ट कर दिए. सो ऑनलाइन इनिशिएटिव्स आर बेसिकली वन कॉमन फैक्टर कि थोड़ा सा हाईटेक करने के लिए, थोड़ा सा मॉडर्न टच देने के लिए ये सारी चीज़ें की जाती हैं, तो वो भी यहाँ पर भी किया जा रहा है. नाउ इन द एडिटोरियल सेक्शंस वी हैव टू आर्टिकल्स. द फर्स्ट सेकंड आर्टिकल is quite relevant for us. We discussed about OPEC yesterday, OPEC, organization of the petroleum exporting countries. Now today we'll discuss what's gonna be the impact of UAE's exit from the OPEC, how it will help UAE in the current context or in the current situation. And also then we have this article, India's global right linkages, costs and consequences. It is authored by Salman Khurshid, who is a former external affairs minister. So he is one of the most eligible person to write article on such a sensitive issue, because he is the former minister for external affairs. Now moving on, we will not have a very detailed discussion about this news item, because again this article might be relevant for your complete understanding of the Indian impact, or how India's current global relations with multiple countries uh, is actually, whether it's benefiting us or it is negatively impacting us. So wo, it's altogether a different thing. That's how international diplomacy works. It always doesn't work in a specific linear way. It always works in like a zigzag manner. So that's quite evident. Now we'll read the first highlighted portion of this article, and then we'll have a very general discussion around this topic, and then we can easily move to the next one, right? Because there are certain remarks which are made by Mr. Khurshid. He is from Indian National Congress Party, and so those have quite a mix of, or they have quite a hint of political allegations. So we will not discuss that. I always believe that when we discuss newspaper or when we read newspaper, we should always avoid news items which are political in nature. Right now, seemingly localized events such as the French Revolution and the two world wars, the collapse of the Soviet Union, the September 11 attacks, and the Lehman Brothers crash all started profound global disruption. So all these events which have been cited by Mr. Khurshid have an impact on the global economy, or have an impact on the entire planet. The 2008 financial crisis unleashed socio-economic pressure that heralded a tsunami of populist autocrats leading right-wing parties, as evidenced by contemporary global upheavals, the conflict in West Asia being just the tip of the iceberg. This tsunami is the single biggest threat to the liberal world order. So this has been a very long discussion कि जो अभी वेस्ट एशिया में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो रहा है, इसका जो इंटरनेशनल इम्पैक्ट होने वाला है ये बहुत ह्यूज होगा. बिकॉज वी नो जो प्राइजेस है क्रूड ऑयल के, दे आर एट ऑल टाइम हाई ऑफ समवेयर अराउंड 115 टू 16 से लेकर के 125 के बीच में फ्लोट कर रहे हैं. So it will crumble the global economy, right? The blockade by the United States of America at the end of the Strait of Hormuz is also somehow impacting the supply of global crude oil. The commercial shipping is absolutely prohibited. Earlier it was Iran who closed the Strait of Hormuz, and now to build more pressure on Iran, they have closed Strait of Hormuz. They have blocked the Strait of Hormuz, and this will eventually lead to a lot of international disturbance. And so how India can overcome with this? Now there are various examples which have been cited. I will not discuss those new things because of one simple reason, because those have a slightly political touch or the political scent in them. So let's avoid those news items and we'll directly dwell to the next topic. OPEC. तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ द पेट्रोलियम एक्सपोर्टिंग कंट्रीज जो ओपेक है, इसका स्टैब्लिशमेंट 1960 में हुआ. यूएई ने 1967 में ज्वाइन किया और यूएई ने 2026 में एग्जिट किया. 1960 में बगदाद कॉन्फ्रेंस के बाद ये एग्जिस्टेंस में आई बॉडी ओपेक. इनिशियली इसका जो हेडक्वार्टर था या सेक्रेटेरिएट था वो जेनेवा स्विट्जरलैंड में था. फिर 1967 में इसे शिफ्ट कर दिया गया वियना ऑस्ट्रिया में. 5 फाउंडिंग मेंबर्स हैं. तो ये तो एक ओपेक का ब्रीफ बैकग्राउंड हो गया. अब यूएई ने जो ये एग्जिट लिया है ओपेक से, तो इसका एक इम्पैक्ट पॉजिटिव क्या हो सकता है? जस्ट कीप ऑन गिविंग, आई मीन प्लीज गाइज, I really want you to drop certain comments. I mean, you guys are law aspirant, right? Have opinion about each and everything. I mean, we are having discussion about these kind of news items every day. So over the period of time, we develop some sort of opinion, right? So just keep on dropping your opinion. Now moving on, coming back to the point again. तो जब कोई भी कंट्री ओपेक की मेंबर होती है, सो देयर इज quota, fixed quota, that you cannot go beyond, or you cannot export beyond this quota, right? So UAE has 6th largest reserve of crude oil in the world, which is 113 billion barrels. Now I have another question for you guys. Which country has the largest or the biggest reservoir of crude oil? Which country has the biggest reserve or the largest reserve of crude oil in the world? You can just punch in your answers. So UAE has the 6th largest reserve of crude oil. Now and also in 2023 they launched a plan which was worth around 150 billion US dollars, and the plan was to raise production capacity to 5 million barrels a day. और अभी जो प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी कोटा है था बेसिकली अंडर ओपेक, it was only 3.45 million barrel per day. So basically they want to utilize, or they want to work at the full capacity, and they want to incentivize maximum value of the crude oil reserve. So now this exit will allow UAE to produce 5 million barrels a day of crude oil, and which will eventually push the economy of United Arab of Emirates. Now, Saudi Arabia was, the swing producer, often trims its oil production to absorb the global oil glut. It resists Abu Dhabi's pressure for a larger OPEC quota. The UAE's ambitious plan for a post-oil advanced technologies. So basically, uh, Saudi Arabia plays a very important role in OPEC, right? And for the past few years, the bilateral relations between UAE and Saudi Arabia has remained very strained. I mean, and no one knows the reason, that what is the reason, but those relations are very strained. So now finally UAE has withdrawn from it, and UAE was demanding कि हमारा जो ओपेक कोटा है उसको थोड़ा सा आप इंक्रीज करिए, बिकॉज वी आर मेकिंग एन इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑफ 150 बिलियन यूएस डॉलर्स टू raise the production capacity, and if you not increase the OPEC quota, then will definitely have a certain drawbacks of related to the same. So but Saudi Arabia denied. So now UAE has made a decision, and it will actually benefit from this decision. I mean, you have crude oil and you want to produce it more. How other country can say that, okay, you just because you are the part of this group, you cannot produce more? So UAE has taken the other way. We are not the part of the group. We'll do whatever we want to. We'll produce as much crude oil as we can. We'll sell it in the market at any price, the price that we want. So India might benefit from this. इंडिया को बेनिफिट इसलिए हो सकता है कि नाउ यूएई इज नॉट the member of OPEC, so they might sell their crude oil slightly at the lower prices. So India is quite famous for procuring crude oil from the countries which sells at cheaper rate for the protection of our domestic interests. So India might get a slight benefit of this. Then on Saturday you have these articles, the case studies from various states. Now moving on, then Trump say he's not satisfied with Iran's new proposal to end the war. I don't know what was the last time when Mr. Trump felt satisfied. I mean, this might be when Ms. Machado, the leader of opposition from Venezuela, offered her Nobel Prize medal to Mr. Trump. Then he must have felt very satisfied, and post that he remains always unhappy, looks grumpy, and now he said he's not happy with the proposal of Iran. So now this is, this is actually a very bad situation here. Both countries are not backing down. They are not actually negotiating. They are actually trying to give a message to each other. Now it's no more about the international conflict, or now it's no more about the two countries. So basically they are just trying to assert the dominance of the their country on the other country. Iran wants कि अमेरिका को समझ में आ जाए that it is almost impossible to defeat Iran, and Trump wanted to ensure one thing, that Iran must understand they can't have nuclear weapon, and they always have to work at the behest of the United States of America, and that's why these negotiations are taking a lot of time, right? तो अभी ये एक प्रपोजल और है, and this is not the first proposal. This is one of the many proposals which have been proposed by Iran and America. फिर अब डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने एक और बहुत ही मेजर डिसीजन मेकिंग में 25% एडिशनल टैरिफ इम्पोज किया है. जो यूरोपियन यूनियन से कार्स इंपोर्ट होंगी उस पर अब एडिशनल 25% टैरिफ लगेगा, वर्ल्ड की फ्रेजाइल इकोनॉमी को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए. So there is a deadline, there is a law as per it was passed in 1973 कि अगर कोई भी war, if any war is about to go beyond 60 days, if any war is about to go beyond 60 days, then the US government have to take the approval of the Congress. So the Secretary to the Department of Defense, Department of War, Mr. Peter Hegseth, in the Senate hearing have confirmed that as per the 1973 law, if a war goes beyond 60 days, then you need approval from the US Congress. But the war started on 28th of February 2026 when the US government launched Operation Epic Fury, and there was a ceasefire. There was a complete ceasefire which was announced on 8th of April 2026. So this war went on for good 30 to 40 days, and it failed to fulfill, or it's not fulfilling the criteria of 1973 law, because 1973 वाला law required कि भाई अगर आपका 60 दिन के बाद ज़्यादा वॉर जाएगा then you need congressional approval, so they don't need it. Then in the sports section, DC have actually defeated, I guess, Rajasthan Royals, right? I'm not. Yeah. Delhi Capitals have defeated Rajasthan Royals. So yeah, this is all about today's newspaper analysis. I have very important things to say. First, please, I mean, I always say this. I mean, whether I don't know whether I should say it or not, please just keep on showering your love. अपने सजेशंस जो भी हैं कमेंट में दिया करिए उनको. आई मीन जब भी गवर्नमेंट कोई नया लॉ बनाती है, सो इट ऑलवेज इनवाइट the opinion of the common people, right? Because you guys are the stakeholder, so your opinion matters the most. So if you have any suggestion, you may always drop your suggestions in the comment section. Second, as a token of gratitude, you will always like the video. Third, from the Monday onwards, we'll have certain questions at the end of every class, and then also we'll have a plain sheet alongside the newspaper. So if we are writing anything, you will get a clear visual of each and everything, right? So my writing on digital board is quite good. You will understand each and everything, and I hope in the next class on Monday, on 4th of April 2026, you will come up with some difficult questions. And I have asked one question. We'll begin the next class with the question that how many uh, particularly vulnerable tribal groups are there in India? Which state has the maximum number of particularly vulnerable tribal groups, right? On that note, I'll say a goodbye. We'll see you day after tomorrow at 8 a.m. in the morning. Till then, just take a good care of yourself. We still have 220 days before CLAT 2027. Devote yourself completely, and always believe this, trust the process, and God help those who help themselves. On that note, we'll wrap up today's session. Bye bye everyone. Take a good care of yourself. मिलते हैं परसों. Yeah. Thank you.